Hello students, in today's lecture we will discuss next stanzas from the poem Lord Ullin's Daughter, written by Thomas Campbell. Students, in our previous lectures we discussed that this poem is a tragic story of love. In this poem, Lord Ullin's daughter and her lover, both of them eloped means they run away from their home from the wrath of Lord Ullin because they love each other so much. So on a dark and a night that was full of storm, they try to go across the lake in a boat, but they get drowned in the stormy waves because of the storm, and so they get drowned in the waves of the sea. Then after they are drowning, the father of the daughter who eloped with her lover, the name of father was Lord Ullin. He was left in grief, he was left in sorrow, and these lines which we are going to uh, discuss today, in these lines the poet describes the drowning tragedy of the couple. Let's begin with our today's stanza. And still they rode amidst the roar of waters fast prevailing. Lord Ullin reached that fatal shore, his wrath was changed to wailing. For, sore dismayed through storm and shade, his child he did discover. One lovely hand she stretched for aid, and one was round her lover. In these lines, the poet is describing the scene when the couple tried to go across the lake in the boat after making requests to the boatman, and still they rode amidst the roar of waters fast prevailing. In these lines, the poet says that when the lover tried to go across the lake, the sea was full of storm amidst the roaring. Roaring means it was making shrieking noises. There were shrieking noises of the waves, sea waves. The storm was roaring and the waves were rising very high. Lord Ullin reached that fatal shore. His wrath was changed to wailing. Lord Ullin's daughter did not want to return to her home due to the anger of her father. In the meanwhile, when the couple tried to go across the lake in that period, Lord Ullin reached the shore. Shore means edge of a sea, edge of the sea. In the meanwhile, Lord Ullin reached the shore of the sea. His wrath was changed to wailing. Wrath means extreme anger, changed to wailing. Wailing means when someone weeps or cries due to grief. So, when Lord Ullin reached the shore of the sea, he saw that his daughter was caught in the storm. At that time, all the anger of the father changed into willing means into sorrow. For sore dismayed through storm and shade, his child he did discover. For sore dismayed, he could not help weeping and crying. He was very much dismayed. Dismay means disappointment, means to be unhappy. He was very much disappointed to see his daughter and to see his daughter caught in the storm and shade his child he did discover. He was very much disturbed, or he was in so much unhappy when he saw his daughter caught in the storm on that dark and stormy night. Shade here means dark night, full of darkness. He was disappointed to see his drowning daughter in that stormy and dark night. His child he did discover. One lovely hand she stretched for aid, and one was around her lover. Lord Ullin's daughter's one hand was held. Stretched means held for aid. Aid means help, assistance. Aid means help or assistance. The one hand of Lord Ullin's daughter was held out for help, and one was round her lover, and the other hand was round her lover, with whom she eloped from her house. It was a very touching sight, very painful sight when the couple was drowning. The lovers were going to die in each other's embrace, in each other's hug. So, this stanza describes the scene of drowning of the lover and the grief of the father, Lord Ullin, over the drowning of his daughter. Next stanza. Come back, he cried in grief, across this stormy water, and I will forgive your Highland chief, my daughter, oh my daughter. It was vain, the loud waves lashed the shore, return or aid preventing. The water wild went toward his child, and he was left lamenting. In these lines again, the poet says that the poem describes a tragic story of love, as we have already discussed in previous lectures and in previous stanza, that in this poem, Lord Ullin's daughter and her lover both have run away from their home due to the anger of the of the girl's father, Lord Ullin. When they try to go across the lake in a stormy and dark night, they get drowned in the sea waves. So, when they drown in the sea waves, the angry father's the anger of the father is changed into sorrow, into grief. So these lines describe the tragic ending of the couple and the grief of Lord Ullin. Come back, he cried in grief, across this stormy water, and I will forgive your Highland chief, my daughter, oh my daughter. It was vain, the loud waves lashed the shore, return or aid preventing. The water wild went over his child, and he was left lamenting. Laudelin saw his daughter caught in the storm, in the roaring waves of the sea. His anger was changed into grief. He shouted in grief, he shouted in sorrow, and requested his daughter to come back, come back, come back. These words are spoken by Lord Ullin to his daughter. he is requesting to his daughter to come back to the shore, to return to the shore of the sea. He cried in grief. He spoke these words in grief, in sorrow. He requests his daughter to return to the shore of the sea across this stormy water. He urges her to come back to the shore of the sea by crossing the stormy water of the sea, and I will forgive your highland chief. He he was ready to forgive the highland chief, means he was ready to forgive the lover of his daughter. He assured her that he would I will, means Lord Ullin will. He assured his daughter that he would forgive her lover, and he will do him no harm. It was vain. The loud waves lashed the shore, but it was not possible for the daughter to return. It was vain. Vain means useless. But his request was useless because because it was not utter for his daughter to return to the shore of the sea. The loud waves lashed the shore. Stormy waves stood in the way of her return. Why it was difficult for the daughter to return to the seashore? Because there were stormy waves in the sea, due to which it was very difficult for her to return to the seashore. Return or aid preventing. Similarly, it was not possible to help the girl because of the stormy waves. The water wild went over his child, and he was left lamenting. So he went on crying for his daughter, but his cries were in vain. He was too late in forgiving the lovers, because when they eloped from home, he was extremely in anger. He was in extreme anger, but now when he is full of grief, the lovers are drowning in the stormy sea in front of his eyes. So he went on crying for his daughter, because but his cries were in vain. His cries were useless, because he was too late in forgiving the lovers. The water wild went over his child, and he was left lamenting. The daughter of Lord Ullin was drowning in the wild, in the rising waves of the sea. The drowning tragedy left the father in grief. Lamenting means in crying. Lament means to cry over someone's death. The drowning tragedy left the father in grief, in sorrow. The tragic end of the couple, or the tragic end of the daughter in front of father's eyes, in front of Lord Allen's eyes, was very touching. So, this poem describes the tragic ending, and it also describes that it also describes that the love is blind. Sometimes the true lovers, sometimes means the true lovers, they take risks and they face dangers for the sake of love, to achieve each other. They make sacrifices for the sake of love. So students, today we have completed our poem Lord Ullin's Daughter. Tomorrow we will continue with our next lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much.